Here's actionable advice on how you can automate your business. This advice was paramount for me as I've built multiple million-dollar businesses. I took a vacation this month to Costa Rica for over 2 weeks. I worked less than an hour per week total on all 4 of my businesses, and they were just fine without me until I got home. Some of the advice I'm going to give you is a little bit off-center based on what you think you know about running businesses, but you'd be surprised how much the basics come into play. So without further ado, let me help you learn so that way you can take that much needed vacation. Let's jump right in. All right, welcome back Airbnb family. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean. My main business in this channel is an Airbnb business. I have 60 properties on the Airbnb platform and we make about $2 million a year. And I've automated that. And this is my most recent project, so a lot of my advice is based around it. But I own multiple businesses. For example, I own a media consultancy that helps newspapers stay alive and not go out of business, and of course reach millennials as part of their strategy for moving forward. I own some auxiliary companies. For example, I built a cleaning company that services my Airbnb portfolio to lower some of our internal costs, creating some synergy. And I have a couple other projects that aren't quite big enough yet for this channel, but I'm sure if you stay tuned, you'll hear about them in the future. So this brings me, of course, to the point, which is how do I build, continue to build, take vacations while I build, and have everything automated and safe while I'm gone? Because these businesses are all in different phases of growth. So there are some commonalities here that hopefully I can teach you, because this advice is, I think, stellar for anybody who's been a do-it-yourselfer business owner. See, I'm not the type of person that's going to retire and stop working. I don't think that that's in my blood. And a lot of you business owners, I don't think that's for you either. A lot of the reasons why we build businesses is this is something we have a passion about. This is what we want to do with our future. And we just couldn't imagine retiring, right? But on the other side of that same coin, this is the problem with automation, is you're so good at what you do. You're so good at building. You're so good at being active and working harder than everybody else. It's kind of hard to let go. And with that said, you never want to take vacations. The moment you feel like you should, you're afraid of leaving things behind without you. And you're afraid that, of course, without your presence, much needed presence, that things would fall apart in your absence. When you're a do-it-yourselfer or a do-it-all person and your business relies on you, that's why you fail to automate. So let's talk about some of the basics here, because it's actually easier than you think if you can wrap your mind around it. So first things first, you are awesome. All right, let's just get that out of the way. You've done a lot for your business. You've grown your businesses. It's all on you. All right, you could be a technician. And we're going to quote a book here. E-Myth Mastery is the one that I've read. It's part of the E-Myth series. And there's a couple other ones like E-Myth Revisited and all these different books in that E-Myth series. And the one that I read talks about the 3 layers of being a business owner. And so I just said technician, and we'll talk about that. The first layer of being a business owner is being a technician business owner, like being a plumber or a baker, somebody who does something really well, and you become self-employed because you can do your job without paying your boss, and everything will be just as good, and you get to keep all the money. This is a great way to start a business, isn't it? Yes, it's simple, just like that. Now the thing though is this is a 1-employee business typically, and technicians, if they take a vacation, the business just stops operating while they're gone. For example, you've seen restaurants closed during certain seasons. Well, they may not be profitable that season to stay open, arguably, but a lot of my favorite restaurants like Paris Bakery and Cafe in West Palm Beach, Florida, they take a vacation and go visit family, and there's nobody there to run the restaurant while they're gone. And so this is an example of a technician-based business. They do great work when the owners are there. The owners leave, nothing happens. So in order to get out of this, you need to move up. You need to move into management and learn how to manage people. Now, being a manager-based business is one step closer to automation, and it's a vital step in understanding so that way you can continue to grow. See, when you're a manager-based business, you are going to hire people to do that technical work for you. You're hiring other technicians, and you have to learn to trust people finally. You have to learn to let people do the work. A lot of times, what will happen is that do-it-yourselfer person, somebody like me or like you, will hire somebody and will supervise them, and if they do anything less than stellar, we're eager to jump in and help make sure that that quality of product is the same as always, as if you were doing it. That's cool for the customer, but that's bad for your automation. You need to learn to let people fail so that way they can grow and eventually become as good as you, because otherwise your people will just do a moderately good job relying on you to take it the rest of the way. You can actually develop a sense of codependence where your employees need you to do the job that they were hired to do in the first place. So being an effective manager is about getting out of the way and letting people do their job. One way to practice this is hire people to do stuff that you're bad at. So for example, if you're a plumber or chef or an accountant, hire somebody to do your social media marketing or your sales or your human resources, and you're going to notice that somebody who's professional in their field will outwork you, because even though you're smart and awesome and can learn anything, you're too busy to pick it up. So chances are when you hire that human resources person, they're just going to jump right in and do better than you could. And in that way, you'll start to appreciate the power of hiring people and the power of teams. So take that and build trust with your employees. Start with the things that you're not good at, let them be better than you, and then work your way towards the center. Eventually, you're going to hire people to take over the tasks that you are excellent at. Now, this is scary, but let me give you a proposition here. Let's say you're going to run your business by yourself, the things you're great at and the things you're not so great at. And then I'm not going to do any work. Same business, I'm going to compete with you. But I'm going to hire 4 or 5 people, and they're each going to take over an aspect of the business. And I'm just going to lead them and manage them to do their best work. That includes one person who's going to do the thing you're great at, one person will do sales, one person will do HR, etc. My 4 or 5 people will outwork you because the power of teams. Even though they're not as good as you, because you're an A player, my 4 or 5 people collectively can outwork you because they're not spread thin. They're not working on 4 or 5 tasks. This should make sense to a lot of people, but you'd be surprised that as common sense as it may seem, it's hard to do in practice because we have pride in our quality of work. So that's manager-based businesses, learning to work through people, learning to delegate things so that way you're not the one doing them, you're just leading people. And remember, there's a difference between managing tasks and leading people, right? You don't manage people. Managing is very much an inhuman thing. You're looking at business processes, you're looking at the numbers, you're working at workflow, and there's not a lot of emotion in management. You lead people and you manage tasks. Just keep that for later. So now, the final layer, the transcendence out of being a manager-based business and finally being an entrepreneurship-based business, is that you're going to step out of the business completely once you've hired everybody to do all of the work. Now, this is where you trust the business to fail. See, with or without you, the business is going to do what it's going to do, and the best you can do is to lead people to make the right decisions and empower them. So let's say you do this well, you hire some great people and they succeed. Voila. Let's say you hire the right people and they fail. Oh well, because failing is a part of learning. See, I give my employees room to fail. When I was in Costa Rica, if something was going to go terribly wrong, I would not have been there to save the day. And chances are a couple things probably did go terribly wrong and I didn't hear about them because I've trained my teams to handle their own business. And they only reach out to me when something is beyond them. But my managers are so used to handling failure and new situations that they don't call me anymore because they're used to handling it. They've learned to grow without me. And this is that big shift that happens when you get out of the business. You're no longer holding everybody's hands or looming over their shoulder. They can finally grow and learn without you. So the key to automation is to step out. This means that before you take your big vacation, plan to shut your phone off for a day or two so that way the managers who run your businesses have to do everything on their own. You need to teach them to not plan for your presence. And you might think you're helping people by being around all the time, but you're actually more so hurting them. So the part here that seems off center is that you're going to stop working. You're going to attempt to have the company fail to some level in order for your managers to learn to come in and save the day and to adapt and grow within their environment, because businesses that run on their own solve all of their own problems. They do all their own hiring, all their own sales, all their own marketing, all their own operations, all their own fulfillment, and they do it without these stakeholders. That is the key to automation. So really, the secret to automation is people, hiring the right people. So if I'm going to give you advice on how to hire people, there's a book, Who, A Method for Hiring. I really like that one. There's a YouTube channel, Armin Trost. He's a professor in Europe, and all of his courseware is on YouTube, which is really nice of him. There's a couple other ones. Now, actually one called Match is a notable one as well. So that's hiring people. Now, building teams and leading teams, I recommend the book, The 1 Minute Manager, super basic, but there's another book I keep on just drilling called Multipliers. It's how to make people better. or make people worse, depending on what kind of manager you are. Now, there's other notable books like Leaders Eat Last or Primal Teams, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I think the book Essential Manager's Manual. It's a Harvard Business Review book, Essential Manager's Manual. It's about 1,000 pages and it's super textbook. Everything you ever wanted to know about business management. If you like to be nerdy and academic like me, you can give that one a read too. So the core of this book, this book recommendation list, the glue of it is E-Myth Mastery. Read it, wrap your head around it. Now from there, once you've built that business to the point that you can take time away, another book to reference is The 4-Hour Workweek. It talks about how you should work every single day, don't take any breaks, just be a workaholic until the business hits a plateau, right? That plateau is where it's not going to change much in your absence. You've hit like an operational stasis. You can still, of course, try to break the plateau and grow the business, but everything should operate on some sort of level playing field here. You're not in some phase of rapid growth where you're spending a bunch of money in marketing or advertisement. You know, you've reached some sort of level. And from there, go and take a big sabbatical, a month or two, just get out. Refresh yourself. That vacation will allow you to step away from your business. And when you do come back, like me coming back from Costa Rica, you can look at your business objectively and make some key changes that you may not have been able to make while you were in the mix. See, when you're in a business working on it, you know all the challenges, you know all the hardships, and you'll make excuses for why things aren't a certain way, just like an employee or a manager of a business would when things are hard. You know how difficult things are, or how difficult things can be. So you won't want extra difficulty from necessary changes. But you take that 2-month vacation and come back refreshed, and you can make hard decisions based on an objective outlook for your company. You'll be willing to make some changes, even though they're going to be tough, where if you were, worn out from managing the business, you wouldn't want the extra trouble. Does that make sense? So it is extremely important that you take vacations. It's extremely important that you automate, because a lot of your business growth will depend on your ability to step out and work on your business, not inside of it. So this is scratching the surface of essentially retirement, right? You build a business, it runs, and that's how you make your passive income for the rest of your life if you want to retire. But if you're like me, you won't want to. So with that said, I'm sure you're going to have questions about the books I gave you recommendations on, maybe some of the terminology. And if you like this video, if you appreciate some of this, of course, some of it common sense advice, but some of it nuanced, leave me a like the video. I would appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope to earn that subscribe button click in the future. So thank you for watching Airbnb Automated, and I will see you on the other side.